Hello everyone, this is Daniel with FitnessBlender.com, and today I'm going to be going over something I think is relatively important in the fitness industry, which is whether or not you have a good or bad trainer. So, there are tons of trainers out there. Lots of them are fantastic trainers, are going to help you get to your goals much faster and teach you along the way. However, there are some trainers out there that just aren't that great. So this list is to try to protect yourself from those bad trainers. So let's go ahead and get started with the list. We've got 10 different things to go through, starting with number 10. So number 10, this one's pretty simple. This is trainers that talk about lower abs. There is no such thing as lower abs. Your abdominal muscles are one big panel that run from top to bottom. There is no way to contract just the top or just the bottom. If they're talking about range of motion of upper or lower, there are ways to kind of focus on one more than the other, but they contract simultaneously, so it does not matter. There is no way to focus on just lower portion of your abdominal muscles, and if any trainer tells you otherwise, you need to walk away. Number 9 is a trainer who promises quick results. Now, a lot of online stuff or TV commercials and stuff like that, they all promise quick results when they're talking about anything health and fitness related. A lot of those, a vast majority of those are ones you need to steer clear of, and just like with personal trainers, if they're not willing to tell you the truth and tell you what it actually takes to get there and get there in a healthy manner, something that's sustainable for long periods of time, they're not a good trainer. A lot of trainers will either put you on crash diets or over exertion for physical activity to try to reach an unrealistic goal. But if you want to have a good trainer that's going to help you over the long run, you need to make sure you find one that is willing to tell you the truth about and help you find a really well-balanced goal setting. So realistic timeline, realistic goals, and all that kind of stuff, rather than somebody who's just going to tell you what you want to hear just to make a buck. So number 8 is a fitness trainer that promotes spot reduction or tells you that you can spot reduce. So just a blanket statement, spot reduction is not possible. There is some research out there that says that you can spot reduce a little bit, but it's such a minor result and such a small effect over a long period of time that essentially it is impossible. So if you have a trainer that's telling you that if you do abs for a really long time, it's going to help you shrink your belly fat, that could not be further from the truth, and you need to run away from them as fast as possible because that is a bad trainer. But this speaks to a little bit of a larger point as well, which is a trainer that dispels bad information. Somebody who either knowingly or unknowingly is putting out information that is contrary to scientific research. So things like women shouldn't lift weights. Low intensity exercise burns fat faster than high intensity exercise. Cardio is best for weight loss, or like I was saying, doing crunches or other abdominal exercises will help you lose belly fat. Those are kind of some like basic fitness myths that a lot of trainers still think are true. And if you are working with a trainer that thinks any of those things are true, or you have any other fitness myth out there that they are still trying to push on you, run away from them as quickly as possible, because that is either not a well-informed trainer or a trainer that's willing to lie to you to get you to come back for more. So number 7 is a personal trainer that does not educate or empower their clients. So for example, when I worked with people one-on-one, and when we're doing these workout videos, whether it's Kelly or I, we try to get across as much information as we can as far as what your form should be, why you're doing the workout, where you should be feeling it, and then our vlogs kind of give you the overall idea of how you should be living a healthier life. We try to educate as much as possible with as accurate information as possible to try to help you make the best decisions you can. There are some trainers out there, though, that they just give you enough information to keep you coming back for more. They give you just enough information to get you through that day's workout, but not enough to get you on to the next, not enough to let you loose. So if you don't have a trainer that is trying to educate you to the point where you no longer need them, then you have a trainer that is looking out for their best interests, their own best interests, as opposed to yours. So always, always, always look for a trainer that is going to be focusing on teaching you rather than just pushing you through the motions. Number 6 is a trainer that focuses more on intensity than they do on proper form. Now, a good example of this would be a lot of the like weightlifter and bodybuilder type communities. Not all of them are like this, but some of them are, where they focus on just trying to get up as much weight as they possibly can, no matter what their form looks like. So I'm sure you've gone into a gym at some points and you've seen people doing the full body curls. You know, they do the whole lift, you know, they're swinging their back to get the dumbbells up. Though it might make you feel like you're really, really strong, what you're actually doing is incorporating a lot of other muscles, or skipping a lot of that range of motion by building momentum. And all that does, by letting your form slide, all that does is it diminishes the effectiveness of that exercise. So you need to make sure that you have a trainer that is willing to tell you, hey, you know what, you should probably lift a little bit less weight and go through that motion a little bit more fully, a little bit larger range of motion, instead of somebody who's just going to say, yeah, how much more can you lift? Let's try putting a little bit more on. Let's put a few more plates on that rack, you know, that kind of thing. So make sure that you have a trainer that is going to focus on proper form over overall intensity, because intensity isn't how you get stronger. It's by making sure you practice perfectly rather than practicing a lot. It's a little bit of a weird concept for a lot of people, but you always want to focus on form over your overall intensity. So number 5 would be a personal trainer that promotes weight loss before or instead of muscle building or strength training. Now, this isn't necessarily a sign of a bad trainer. This isn't, if somebody wants to focus on weight loss first, that's perfectly fine. That's not necessarily dangerous or incorrect information. It just isn't necessarily the easiest way of doing it. So if a trainer thinks that weight loss should be done with just strictly cardio, that's a little different. Strictly cardio is if that's your personal favorite and that's how you like to work out, that's fine, but it's not the most efficient way to lose weight. You need to have a little bit more muscle tissue. Your body runs at a certain rate, burns a certain number of calories when you're just sitting around doing nothing. And you can actually permanently increase that by increasing the amount of muscle mass you have. So you can actually burn more calories with no extra effort whatsoever if you're focusing on building a little bit of muscle mass. So I know a lot of you might not necessarily want to put on a ton of muscle mass, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not talking about trying to make you into like a giant bodybuilder or anything like that. I'm just talking about increasing a little bit of muscle mass to the point where you probably won't even notice it. Can still have a huge impact on your overall calorie burn for the day. The main point, though, is you need to have a trainer that's willing to tell you both, as opposed to just pushing you down one or the other without giving you the information you need, just because of their own personal preference. Number 4 is a trainer that does not properly develop a workout program. Now, this one's going to be a little bit harder for most people to tell because it's a little bit more subtle. But what I mean by this is a program that is properly developed to evenly balance your left side to your right side, and top to bottom, front to back, that kind of thing. So, for example, I was watching a video the other day by a pretty big trainer, well-backed, well-funded trainer, and they were doing a squat circle. So basically one foot was a pivot point and the other foot kind of stepped forward, they squatted, stepped forward, squatted, all the way around in a circle. And they did this a few times, and I kept waiting for them to switch directions. So even on the same leg, switch moving in a circle backwards rather than forwards, because that's a little bit different motion. But I thought for sure that they would switch legs, and they didn't. They actually only did that exercise with one leg planted and the other leg doing the motion, which is, in my point of view, terrible. It actually builds up imbalances from left to right. It builds up structural and control balances. So that might not seem like a real big deal, but in the long run, those kinds of little tweaks and those kinds of repetitive motions on one side but not the other can cause things like chronic pain, discomfort, can cause joint instability and that kind of thing, or just build really, really strong dominance from one side to the other, so you naturally just always use one side. You want to make sure you're looking out for a well-balanced and safe routine to do, and not all trainers, unfortunately, necessarily do that. So always look out for someone who is really, really focus on balancing things well. And it goes back to the point about educating your clientele. If they aren't educating you as to why they're doing things in the order that they are, you might not necessarily want to use them as a trainer. So number 3 is a trainer that promotes one specific style of training. So there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different styles of training out there, whether you're talking about Olympic weightlifting, traditional strength training, plyometrics training, HIIT training, which is one of our favorites, Pilates, yoga, bar. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on. So if any trainer ever comes to you and says, my style is better than everyone else's, then they don't know what they're talking about, because every style out there always has holes in it. So you want to make sure you have a trainer that is going to get you through a bunch of different training styles to make sure that you are completely covered in every realm, and then give you a little extra focus on the direction that you really want to focus on. Number 2 is a trainer that chooses to use body shaming as a way to motivate. Now this one is personally really bothers me. Out of every single way there is to motivate, which there's a lot of them, body shaming or shaming in any way to motivate someone to do something basically is the quickest way to develop an environment for disordered thinking, for feelings of guilt and feelings of inadequacy. Basically, it is tearing someone down mentally to force them to do what you want to do. These are things that people do in dysfunctional relationships. You should never, ever be putting up with someone treating you like that, especially if you're paying them money for a service to help you get healthier. The idea of someone body shaming someone for overall fitness, basically it's going to set up a system of hating exercise, constantly feeling inadequate, and never feeling like you are good enough. So you need to make sure that the trainer that you choose to work out with, whether it's one-on-one live, or whether it's a DVD, or whether it's even a television show you watch on TV for motivation, you need to make sure that they are putting across a positive message that makes you feel better about yourself, makes you feel more adequate, and more basically well equipped to get your workout done and to focus on your health. You need to make sure that you keep your overall health and your overall goals for fitness positive ones. If you let a trainer turn it negative, it will be 10 times harder for you to get to those goals and maintain those goals for a long period of time. So if you have a trainer that chooses to use body shaming or shaming of any kind to get you to do your workout or get you to adhere to a diet plan, drop them immediately and go find one that makes you feel good about yourself, because that is the only way you're going to make long-term healthy goals for yourself stick. So this brings us to our last item on the list, which I think is one of the most important, and that is if a trainer tries to sell you or promote supplementation in any way, shape, or form. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be really upset about this one, and I know a lot of people are going to argue with me about whether or not they think this is a good point or not, but I really don't care. What it comes down to is that from my schooling, I've got a degree in food and nutrition, I've been a nutrition counselor for over a decade, I've been a personal trainer for over a decade. From everything that I've read, from all the research that I've done, I've found that supplementation is pretty much useless. There's no research-backed reason why you need to take supplementation to get healthier. If any trainer tries to sell you supplementation or tries to promote that you go and buy supplementation, you need to find yourself a new trainer. And here's the main reason why. Unless your personal trainer is a doctor, a medical doctor, they cannot legally prescribe nutrition supplementation to you in any way, shape, or form. They cannot suggest it to you in any way, shape, or form. It is against their code of conduct. It's against their code of ethics. It should never, ever be mixed. If you have a good personal trainer and they think that you might need to take some kind of supplementation, they'd say, you know what? You should probably go talk to your doctor about this and this. Make sure you talk to your doctor before you start taking it. And even a nutritionist isn't supposed to do it either. only a medical doctor can really give you a prescription for any kind of nutritional supplementation. So I could go on for hours and hours and hours about that particular subject, but I'll stop there. Just make sure that if you have a trainer that is trying to sell you supplementation, you go find yourself a new one. So that brings me to the end of my top 10 signs of a bad trainer. If you want a little bit more in-depth detail on each one of those points, feel free to click the link below and read the article. Otherwise, if you have other points that you'd like to have added or you think should be added, leave those in the comments section below. I'd love to hear them. Or if you disagree with any of my points, I'd love to hear why you disagree with me. Leave those in the comment section below. I'd love to see all that stuff. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope it helps you out. I'll see you guys next time.